snackablementalhealth.ca. I am here on the table with the healing master, Zachary Owen. He goes by Zach. I am going to record my entire session of cupping and acupuncture and a little bit of massage. And Zach is going to explain what he's doing and how this all fits into the mental health landscape. We're gonna start now, and I'm currently laying on the table, and he's about to start with his treatment. Hello, Zach.
Hello, Brandon. How are you doing today?
I slept in, but I got here just in time. So I am exactly a half an hour away from door to door if I don't get coffee. So I'm making my own coffee now to save myself $3 every time I get into the car. Yeah.
Value added.
Value added.
And maybe you didn't sleep in at all. Maybe you needed that sleep today.
I was woken up out of a dead sleep at 9 a.m., which is really rare for me these days.
I'm just gonna take your watch
take
off
my
here, if that's okay.
Take my Fitbit off. That's product placement, by the way. Fitbit.
He gets royalties on all of these things.
That's right.
So first thing I'm gonna do is take your pulse. Your pulse is going to give me a little bit of information on how your body's feeling today. I take the pulse, and I'm looking for different things that a Western practitioner is going to look for. One of the things that I'm looking for is instead of just rate and rhythm, which is what a Western practitioner tends to look for, I'm looking for qualities rather than quantities.
Okay.
So this is something that's harder to put down on paper, and it's harder for a machine to be able to detect it. It's very observational, and it's very it has to do with how I perceive your pulse. So when we were in school learning this, we would take the pulse of hundreds of different people and compare it, so that we would understand what our teacher was talking about when he would use the term like slippery or thin or fine.
So there are other ways to measure the rhythm of the heart other than, a stethoscope.
It's not necessarily the rhythm of the heart. That's something that we take into consideration, but it's the quality of the way the heart is pumping. It's the quality, not the quantity. So it's something that can't be timed the same way. So I'm actually placing 3 fingers on your radial artery, on your wrist, and I'm feeling at different levels of pressure. And my 3 fingers are essentially 3 different positions at 3 different levels. So every finger is telling me something different about a different organ, and every level of pressure is telling me something different as well.
Am I still alive? I'm trying to silence my heart like a ninja would. Quiet mind, silent heart.
So here's something really interesting. So you said you slept in. I know it's just been the supermoon, and the supermoon can be very intense and have a pretty major effect on our sleep. And one of the things that I find when I'm taking your pulse,
Am I still asleep?
The quality of your pulse tells me that the quality of your sleep could use, not that it could use, that it's been challenging for you.
Okay.
To get a good, deep, restful sleep.
Yeah, maybe like 20% of the time I get rejuvenating, restful sleep out of my 9 hours that I get in every night.
Oh, okay. Did you sleep in because you were tired today?
I was up a little late last night.
Oh, okay.
And normally I'm in bed between 9:30 and 10:30, but I stayed up till after 11.
Oh, okay.
Last night. And I got to sleep really fast, and I stayed asleep. I didn't have to get up to pee or anything.
That's great. Yeah, your body's soaking up sleep right now. Like, I feel like your body just wants to do that. Part of that could be the weather too, right?
Yeah.
Because it went from like really sunny and warm to like kind of cool and damp and overcast.
Okay.
So your body is like in rest mode. It wants rest, it wants sleep, it wants good qualities, long sleep. I'm just gonna take the pulse on your other wrist now.
That's my better wrist.
Yeah, it's telling me you like it a lot more. You have a better relationship with this wrist.
My heart says yes.
Okay, so on this side, we're getting a little digestive cue here. It's saying, okay, the digestive system is working harder than the rest of your organs. So there's something going on in your digestive system.
Could that be the supplements I take?
It's possible if there's something that is challenging your digestive system.
Okay.
So when I felt the kind of like depth of your other wrist, and I feel the depth on the so there's again 3 positions. So there's 2 positions where I still feel that depth of like wanting rest and restoration, and then your digestive pulse is coming to the surface. It's almost like, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. So there's some inflammation happening that's in there.
Okay.
And so then the questions I would ask you is if you've had any like bloating recently, if you've eaten anything that you know is not really good for your digestive tract recently.
It's funny, in my trance yesterday with my psychologist doing the hypnosis, I noticed my solar plexus and my belly. There was a little bit of pain.
Oh.
For some kind of spiritual reason.
Okay.
Other than that, I've been eating well.
That's great. You've lost weight too.
I have.
Notably.
Yeah, I'm down a couple of pounds. Officially about 15 pounds in the last 4 months.
Good for you.
But still doing everything right. I'm trying to get to the gym every day for a little while. I'm not throwing the weights around. I'm just doing treadmill and elliptical.
Good for you. Yeah, so if you were doing like an entity release and you were feeling it in your stomach, this could be just the residual parts of that.
I think it might be. Because, yeah, that was part of it. I mean, if you believe in all this mumbo jumbo, which I am wholeheartedly a part of, you can really amp up your energy levels and your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your high functioningness in this world by simply paying attention to what your body needs and coming to people like Zach Owen and my psychologist, working on mind, body, spirit, all that stuff is creating a better me out of this whole process.
So the next thing I'm going to do is take a peek at your tongue, and I'm going to use a flashlight here.
I just had coffee, so.
Oh, good to know.
I'm a little dry.
Okay, so the first thing I notice, your tongue actually looks really good. It's got a good shape to it. The first thing that I notice is a thick coating. And it's a thick yellow coating, but the yellow is often caused by coffee.
Yeah, that would be the coffee.
Yeah, so that we can't take that as like a constitutional sign. But,
okay.
But the coating being thick, that is something that is related to the digestive system that we talked about earlier.
Wow.
So I think that even though you're doing a lot of great things, there's still like a mucus buildup through the digestive tract.
Okay.
And that's a sign of inflammation as well, because oftentimes the digestive tract will be coating itself with mucus in order to protect itself from something. So again, that can be a food perhaps or a drink that can be creating these conditions.
What did I have last night? I had a bourbon on ice, and I don't drink anymore.
Oh.
I've had 5 drinks since July 2024.
Good for you.
But whenever it calls for one, Zach, like I'm trying to do it on my own terms.
Yeah.
It's called white knuckle sobriety.
Oh yeah, I like it.
I'm not in the program, and I'm not anything like that, but yeah, the term is white knuckle sobriety. It's kind of where you want to be. I share a glass of wine with people every now and then. If I'm out on the town, I'll have one and nurse it for the whole night. So that bourbon might have been a reason that my digestive system is a bit thrown off.
Absolutely could have been. Yep. Cold foods can sometimes do it as well. If you've had any cold foods, cold drinks, or sugary.
Okay. Trying to think now.
No slushies?
I haven't eaten any Slurpees, no.
Okay. Pizza can do it too.
I've been craving pizza, but I haven't had any pizza.
Good. Do you remember Hook? The movie Hook?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I have like a craving of a food that I know I don't want to eat,
Yeah.
I go into Hook mode where, remember they had a giant imaginary feast?
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember that? So they all sit at this massive table and they have this massive feast and they eat any food they want. They eat unlimited quantities of it. But then they realize that it's all in their imagination. And sometimes when I'm craving something that I know I
picture
shouldn't have,
yourself eating it.
oh, totally. I'll pick up a big fat slice of pizza. I'll chew it.
Imaginary wise.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's calorie free. It's fun. You can taste it.
I agree. I do that with alcohol actually.
Do you?
I can imagine the taste of tequila.
Right?
Without having tequila. Yeah. The whole thing.
If you tap into
rum,
your
I can
emotions.
tap into my taste buds and believe I'm drinking rum or scotch or yeah, absolutely. I agree completely.
And sometimes it tastes better.
Yeah.
Because you can drink the best scotch, right?
Why not? Scotch you can't afford.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. You can still drive.
Yeah. Manifesting imaginary foods and drinks. And no calories.
No calories. So right now,
That shoulder has been doing incredible lately. Right there, you got a tiny bit of pain right there.
Mm-hmm. Right now, what I'm doing is just palpating your meridian system. We can talk more about that in a little bit. But I'm just finding on your body, just with my fingers, I'm feeling for consistencies and inconsistencies. And I'm doing that like over your chest right now and into your shoulders. And one of the things, like I'm looking for anatomy, and I'm also looking for something called a meridian system, which is meridian systems almost act as like highways or energetic rivers that run from the tips of the fingers and toes all the way down our limbs into our organs. And so they act as like a regulating system between our internal and our external environments. So much like a beaver dam might impede the flow of a river, sometimes there's inconsistencies in our meridian systems that impede the flow of energy. We would call it like cosmic energy or universal energy from properly nourishing our organ system.
Another thing I wanted to add to my show is how amazing and beautiful and mysterious the human body is, and that we continue to learn, every day what we're capable of or new things about our bodies.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. How it all comes together and it all blends with nature and its, symbiotic relationship with all other life on Earth.
And how connected it is.
Connected,
like
yes.
Our
absolutely.
minds are connected with our bodies in ways that are like super mysterious, but like you can measure it. How's that feeling here in your shoulder?
Very good. No pain there. Shoulder's a little bit tired, both of them actually.
Are they?
Yeah.
You have the weight of the world up on them?
I wouldn't say that. I don't know about the entire world. Maybe parts of the world.
Just Brandon's world?
Yeah, just my own world.
Ooh. You feel this in here?
I've been using Icy Hot when I go to the gym on my legs.
Oh, okay.
The
Where on your legs?
little roll-on applicator. All over.
All over your legs?
Yeah,
Do your legs get
mostly
sore?
my knees and my shins,
Okay.
and the back of my knees and my hamstrings.
Oh, that's good to know.
So I put it on like half an hour before I go to the gym.
Are you stretching your legs?
Not as much as I should. That's a good idea, is to stretch a little more.
Absolutely.
I'm about a little over half an hour on the treadmill and about 15 minutes on the elliptical right now. Yesterday I did 50 minutes in total.
Good for you.
Yeah, the weight's coming off. My wife is feeding me incredibly nutritious meals.
That's incredible.
I'm very rarely into the sugars and the salty snacks. I'm doing a bag of chips once a month now.
Is that an intentional bag?
Yes.
Good for you. I like that.
It's a treat.
Yeah.
One bag
I like that.
every month.
Yeah. Just to kind of let some steam off, eh? So you don't feel like you're depriving yourself.
Exactly.
That's great.
I believe eating for pleasure is also something we should do, like not often, maybe like once a week or twice a month to eat for pleasure instead of eating for just nutrition. I think it's a very healthy thing to dive into that burger and fries, or just eating for pleasure at least a couple of times a month just to treat your body to something, and then go at it with the vegetables and the fish and the the good stuff. That's the broccoli.
One of my favorite foods when I was younger was bags of cheesies. And I couldn't just eat a couple of cheesies. Like if I opened a bag of cheesies,
You have to eat the whole thing.
You have to eat the entire thing. And it was like almost like an addiction for me. I didn't do it a lot, but I would like see it in a store. I'm like, I need that bag of cheesies. And so one day I decided, I was like, I feel like this has way too much control over me. So I decided I was going to do this ceremony with the cheesies. So I put the cheesies. I took the bag and I decided I'm going to sit here with this bag and just look at it and just feel how it feels in my body when I'm looking at the bag of cheesies, and just notice the sensations. Like I'm going to start to salivate and I'm going to feel this like...
What an experiment that is.
It was so good. It was almost like in The Hobbit when people remember the ring that they were all searching for, and they felt this like they felt compelled to like just grab the ring and steal it from other people. And there was a part of me that just wanted to open that bag and eat the whole thing, and I just noticed it and just acknowledged that feeling. And then I said, I'm going to take this a step further, and I'm going to open the bag and I'm going to smell it for like 5 minutes. Just smell the inside of the bag and just feel that like strong desire and strong pull, and just sit with it.
What a test.
It was a little bit like the Peter Pan meal, only with like real smells in front of me. So I did that for 5 minutes. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, I said, I'm going to eat one cheesy, and then I'm going to throw out the rest of the bag.
Did you do it?
I did it.
Wow.
I ate the entire cheesy.
That's willpower. Slowly. I don't even know. That's more than willpower. That's a great test for you.
It was just a different way of sitting, like, of being with something that I felt like had control over me before.
And it's so bad for you.
It's so bad for you.
But yeah.
And it never had control over me again after that. It was just making a different relationship with it. It was actually fun. It didn't feel hard. It just felt different.
Wow.
So one of the things, not surprisingly, this is the theme of the day, it seems, I'm palpating, which means touching, feeling, noticing your stomach meridian, which runs actually down your leg on the lateral side. And as I palpate it, I noticed that there's quite a few inconsistencies here. And
what is palpating again?
Palpating is like touching, feeling, noticing. It's the more like clinical term.
That area of the muscle that goes along the shin bone is exhausted.
Yes, it feels tired, and it also feels very tense simultaneously. This muscle is called the tibialis. So one of the things that I'd like to do here is apply some acupuncture needles along specific points where I'm finding we could make some change. So these two right here, they feel excessive to me. So one of the things I'm going to do is start to redirect the energy from in your meridian system. We're going to unblock this channel. So if you can take a deep breath in and out as I insert the needle. How does that feel there?
Barely felt it. Now, is there different gauges of acupuncture needles?
So many different gauges.
Okay.
And there's different techniques that work better and worse with the gauges. So every practitioner they get a feel for what technique they're using and what gauges, what brand, what length of needle works best for that technique.
Okay.
And right now I'm using actually a fairly thin needle. This is very subtle energetic work that we're doing. And you might start to notice very gentle sensations.
I'm really feeling that now.
Ah, do you feel that release?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of movement there. So that's what you felt was the equivalent of if you have a beaver dam damming up the flow of a river, and
Yes.
then we're suddenly able to release that dam, to open it up, and the water starts flowing.
All that work for the beaver.
Luckily, we're not impeding any beavers' lifestyles now.
Yes.
We're creating Brandon habitat.
Yes. I think the right side is also pretty much, I don't know what the word is, but they're both the same amount of exhausted, that the legs, because I've been working out every day. So
That's great, Brandon.
but it's the exhaustion isn't kind of like that, isn't bad pain, it's actually the good workout pain.
Do you find that working out is kind of in some way replaces your craving for alcohol?
I don't even think there's a craving anymore. It was just a time, and I was like, you know what? I'm drinking too much. This was in like July of this year.
You're a big beer fan.
I was drinking beer every day, like pop, and spending so much money. And I realized that it was affecting my central nervous system really badly. So I was like, let's try, not drinking and see what happens there. Wow, that's painful. And see what happens there. So since July, I've had 2 beers, 2 glasses of wine. I had 2 glasses of wine on Thanksgiving Day, or Thanksgiving dinner, and a couple of shots of scotch. By shots, I mean in a rocks glass with ice, and I can nurse it for the whole night. And just like, as you say, with the experience with the cheesies, I can do that with alcohol.
That's incredible.
And the benefit of it, Zach, is that I'm protecting my central nervous system. I take a lot of pretty heavy antipsychotics as well, and the tardive dyskinesia I get from that is minimal, but it's still there.
The what is minimal?
Tardive dyskinesia. It's a terrible side effect of taking some medications, and it's closely related to Parkinson's.
Really?
And it was really affecting my hands, tremoring.
Wow.
And I take a pill for it, as well as I take vitamin E for it as well. And without the drinking, I've pretty much have it at bay. It's not happening anymore.
Good for you.
So that's it. I do this little mantra when I'm thinking about having a drink. I say, central nervous system, and repeat that. And it's funny, but it's like, it really works.
See, the mind-body connection.
There is. And like last night, I was at a poetry event, and I was there at 7:00, and I had a glass of scotch or of bourbon with ice, and I nursed it until 9:30. So that was one drink for 2.5 hours, and I enjoyed it more than I would have 10 drinks. Like,
That's incredible.
I'd like to say that I've surrendered to my higher power to the nth degree. But I feel like I'm been blessed with control now. I like to be in control of things that I can control. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If it's within my wheelhouse to control myself over, not eating that bag of cheesies.
The control you're talking about is self-control.
Self-control.
Yeah.
and a severe lack of self-sabotage or self-persecution as well, you know?
I love that for
I'm
you.
very hard on myself, Zach. So I'm asking of the universe to make it a little easier on me. Because I'm harder on myself than anybody else is. It's very true.
Well, and that tendency to be hard on yourself can be used to better you, and it can be used for yourself to tear yourself down. So you have a certain level of self-awareness and a certain level of self-actualization, like the ability to know, like, okay, if I'm drinking more than I want to be, I can either shame myself and then want to drink more probably because of it, or I can use that same self-awareness and motivation, like it's an energy, right? The energy is either used for destroying or building, right? It's very dualistic. So you use that same energy, same.
There's a lot of coins we deal with too, right? Destroying or building. That's a coin. Love, hate, good, evil.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, wrong.
Dualism. Chinese medicine is all about dualism, the yin and the yang.
Yin yang.
Yeah, so you're channeling that in a new way now. It's just like unblocking the pathways of the meridian system. So you find, okay, I've got this level of self-awareness. I know exactly what is harming my central nervous system. I'm either going to be hard on myself about it and not change it, or substitute it for another destructive habit, or I'm going to use that same energy towards actually like transforming it. That's why I was asking you about if there was a correlation between like working out and the endorphins that gives you and the energy that you're putting towards that and the drinking.
The other part about it is there's that very key. The other part about it is I love going to bed exhausted.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I think that's a big thing for me. I take pills to help me sleep as well. I'm not sleeping pills in general, but my antipsychotics help me sleep. But I love going to bed and being tired and exhausted, because you get to sleep faster, you sleep longer and heavier.
I love that for you.
Yeah. So I've got acupuncture needles on both legs and on my belly now. And I believe Zach is working on my digestive system.
I am. That's the theme. So one of the things that I find really fascinating is you were working on entities and you were feeling them in your belly. So I often correlate spiritual and energetic happenings with also physical happenings. So the spiritual happenings often will be first, and as they solidify, it becomes more and more physical.
They manifest themselves physically.
Yes. So the kind of like spiritual energetic entities can create a desirable habitat for parasites or for digestive inflammation or for even just the desiring of foods that can further injure your digestive tract.
And just terrible, like junk food, fast food.
Yeah, totally. So it's all correlated, right? So probably, like, I don't think that there's any coincidence that was what you were working on, and that's the first thing I noticed. And then when I, took your pulse, looked at your tongue, then I'm like, okay, there's definitely something going on here. So one of the things that I'm working on is your body's ability to release the mucus that we call dampness in Chinese medicine. We refer to it as dampness because we see the body like an ecosystem. So it's like there's too much stagnant moisture. It's not flowing moisture like a healthy river. This is like swamp water, right? We call it dampness because it's much more romantic.
The other thing I've been asking my subconscious mind for is an efficient intestinal tract.
That's great.
That's over the last 2 weeks. So maybe might be a positive thing that's happening there.
Absolutely. You're starting the flow with those thoughts.
Just noticing some things in Zach's practice in his office is very professional. There's some ivy in here. Um, Lots of flora, and there's a fish tank. Some neon tetras in it. Is that still there?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice it. Neon tetras are among my favorite fish. Do you know? Did you know neon tetras are one of the only fish that can live symbiotically with beta fighting fish?
I didn't know that.
They're too fast for them, so the beta fighting fish won't attack them. They're too fast. Like they can stay and they can dart really quickly. I was an expert on aquariums and fish when I was a kid.
Were you really?
Yeah, I had a big tank. I had a 60-gallon and a 40-gallon, but I started with like that size, the 20-gallon.
I love aquariums.
I know.
My dad used to have a 100-gallon aquarium.
100-gallon. Was it saltwater?
No, he always did freshwater. Right?
Okay.
He said that saltwater was too finicky.
It is. Yeah, saltwater fish are. Yeah, they're very delicate.
They're delicate and expensive.
Yes.
And you have to get lots of, mineral balances right.
Yeah, that bag with the goldfish in it that you win at the fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gateway fish.
Yeah. I remember they used to give them away at Canada's Wonderland in Smurf Village.
But that's where it starts with aquariums. You're like, okay, now I got to get a goldfish bowl and goldfish food. And my goldfish is sick, so I need something for its scales. And then your goldfish dies, you're like, wow, maybe I should go to the aquarium shop. And then you get an aquarium with a filter, and then, yeah. I used to raise guppies.
Oh, no way.
I'd noticed when one of my guppies was pregnant, and then they have a little nursery that you put them in.
I've heard of that.
It's a little cube with netting around that hooks onto the side, and then it has its babies. And then you take the mama out, and you've got the babies in the little nursery.
So she won't eat them.
And you let, there's a period of time that they have to kind of spawn, and they get a little bigger, and then you release them, and then you've got 12 more guppies in your tank.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Guppies are really cool.
They are cute.
What got me hooked on aquariums was once I understood something called the nitrogen cycle. Because a lot of people have fish die and they don't really understand why.
What's wrong with the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you understand the nitrogen cycle, it's actually like the waste from the fish. Like, where does it go? It actually gets broken down by a specific kind of bacteria that turns, so it's essentially ammonia, right?
Yes.
So the ammonia gets broken down into another nutrient called nitrite.
We're talking about fish shit right now.
Fish poop. And then the nitrite gets eaten by another bacteria that turns it into nitrate, which is usable as nitrogen for the aquarium plants. So when you keep live aquarium plants in your aquarium,
yes,
you complete that cycle, and then
they're in their own little biosphere.
Exactly.
You don't need to feed them that much either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because there's also microfauna that end up living in your aquarium that you can't even see.
The little microbes that clean the place.
Yeah. How's this feeling?
Tender, but oh, there we go.
So we're doing a little bit of work on your lungs right now. Your lung meridian is coming up as a little hot, a little
Okay.
a little irritated, a little inflamed.
Smoking. I am a dirty smoker.
So we're hoping to clear this
That's
inflammation.
kind of painful, but
Does it settle down? So one of the things when we're talking about mind-body connection and associations, one of the things that I like to differentiate is the difference between pain and the emotional associations and attachments we have to that word. Like, pain is usually something that we don't want, right? Pain is often something that is signaling to our brain that there's potential injury. So I always like to direct our attention to when we have strong sensations during treatment. We're not creating injury. We're creating strong sensations which help to signal to our brain the points of interest where we actually want our attention to be. So those strong sensations, instead of instead of running away from it, we actually want to like draw our attention into it. And that helps to create the change that we're going for. So when you feel that stronger sensation, instead of wondering like, am I possibly being injured right now, we think this is the spot that I need to be. This is the spot that I need to rest my mind right now. Focus. That I need to breathe into. Yes, we need to focus on that area. And over time, sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge to get used to, but as we do this work, we get better and better and better at being in the places that are calling our attention.
So I'm in the process of losing a toenail.
I see that. You're molting.
Yeah, it was created from walking too much. My shoe lifted the nail up.
Is your shoe too small for your foot?
I don't know. I think the toe parts of my foot are too wide for the shoe.
Oh.
So it's a little tight.
Yep. So your shoe's too small for your foot.
Use that. I now have a needle on my third eye.
It's a point called yin tong. It's third eye opening, and it's also very relaxing simultaneously.
Nice. We're going to take a break now and let Zach do some more acupuncture on me. Snackablementalhealth.ca